This is Daf Yomi Yerushalmi Shekalim. The article Oz edition where Daf Zayin Amud Aleph Kol Over Al Pikudim, which is 5 lines down, and the Vilna where Gimel Amud Beis, counting lines above the Mishnah of Allah Chadalid, it is the 5th line up from the Mishnah. And very interesting drasha we have in order to see who's chayiv and machzis the shekel. It says Kol Over Al Pikudim, anybody who passes by on the count. On the census. So anybody go to the Ikar of the Pasuk is called Eber. Means anybody went to Yam Suf has to give, which of course includes Yisraelim and Kohanim and Levim. In fact, it says Al Pekudim. The portion explained refers not to the this truma of the Matzis Shekel. Refers to the other trumas. Other trumas were given by the people who were counted, as opposed to the Matzis Shekel was given by everybody. The Chaim Kanievsky says that he suggests that although it's sort of a difficult lesson of the pasuk, I'm not saying this is his explanation we give for the pasuk. He says, "But pekudim yostiv mishum trumas adonim." Because the by Parsha is also included in this Parsha and Parsha Truma. And the Kohen did not give for the Adonim. He says, like it's clear from the Pesukim in Parsha Seil Pekudim. I don't know what Pesukim is referring to, which is clear, but evidently it's clear from them that the Kohen did not have a portion of the Trumas Adonim. So Kol Ever gave Machzis Shechel. Anybody went to Yam Suf. Pekudim, the people counted, only they gave for the Adonim, because both Kohen were not counted. The Talmud Chadadim says it's the pasuk is referring to. It's not saying pasuk Chaim Kanievsky referring to because he came way before Chaim Kanievsky, but evidently the very pasuk Talmud Chadadim writes Kes Pikudei Eid of a Gomer and the Shmos Lameches Kafei. That is about the Mitzvah Bnei Yisrael without Levim, and that is by the Trumas Adonim. And again, I don't know exactly how you see it in the pasuk, but because it says Pikudei Eida. And the Eidah means not Kohen Levim. L'chuyama ain't Kohen Levim. Kohen Levim chelik b'hem. But Trumas Hashkolim, that was which went to Korban, that everybody gave. Anyway, so that's one opinion. The other opinion is Chodamar Kol Davar Bikra. You didn't know anybody was counted by Moshe. When Moshe went to their tents, so the people weren't over on the Pikudim. But it means he went to the counting place and got counted. So only the people who got counted in the census, which is of course excludes Kohen Levim, they are the ones that have been being Matzis the Shekel. So Madam I called out Rabbi Yam Yitain, so Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai said that Kol Kohen Sheino Shekel is Kohen. The Kohen has to give the Matzis the Shekel, right? Madam I called Rabbi Pikudaya, only the ones who pass over the Pikudaya means the ones who are actually counted by Moshe Rabbeinu. At the counting stations, Yitain, Messiah Ben Bukhari, Ben Bukhari says a Kohen gives doesn't sin, but there's no chiyuv for him to give because he's not part of the Pikudim. Okay, Allah Chadalit. Even they said, we don't compel women, slaves, and children to give. I'm sure men, if they did to give the Matzis the Shekel, we accept it from them. So assume that they are giving it sufficiently b'leiv sholem and with authorization to do so, more importantly, so that we can accept them. Okay, so the Mishnah goes on and says, "Hanokri ba'kuti shaklu emekalim em liyardim." Now this question which we have to get into. Hanokri, I understand. Hanokri is no chayil korban tzibur. Why not a kuti? At this point, the assumption was still that kutim were legitimate gerim. So Gemara is going to ask that. Why should we not accept from them money for korban tzibur? But we don't. So Mishnah says, just like a goy we don't accept, so to a kuti we don't accept. The Samaritans, we're not accepting them. Shachli, even they want to bring us to Matzis Shekel, and Mekabi Yadam, we don't accept them. Mekabi Yadam, we don't accept them. Kinei Zovin, Kinei Zovos, any korbanos chova. And again, the question is why kutim not? But Kinei Zovin, Kinei Zovos, the korbanos of a Zova or Zova. Of course, the Korban points out there is no such thing as a Zova or Zova by a non-Jew, but by kuti there is, and nevertheless you don't accept from them the korbanos that you bring after they're no longer zova. Can you notice after yoledas chatos the shomas don't accept from them chatos v'osham. Any korban which is obligatory, not voluntary, we don't accept from them. There's a see in the Mishnah Mekabli Mehen, but in the Vilna that doesn't appear. So we're going to leave it out. Even in the Vilna where it does, there is an alternative girsa, which is Avokabel and Nedar Davos, which would be a prelude to the next part of the Mishnah. We do accept from them pledges, voluntary pledges. Zah this is a general principle. Kosher nidav and nidav, anything which can be brought as a neder, as an obligation which a person placed by themselves, or nidav, an obligation a person placed by the animal. And comment we can accept from a non-Jew or from a kuti. Kosher ain't lo nidav, anything which cannot be brought as a voluntary korban. Ain't mekayim man, we don't accept from them. Ezra, and this is explicit by Ezra. Ezra says that when the Shkutim wanted to volunteer to give funds to build the base of Mikdash, he says, "Lo lachem v'lonu livnos beis Elokeinu." It's not incumbent upon us together that to build the base of Mikdash. So we see already that it seems to be like by the Kutim like Xer D'Rabbanan. Well, the Gemara is going to get into it, but it seems like Xer D'Rabbanan. As I said, no, we're not going to. Evidently, the Kutim tried to double cross him. They tried to stop the big base of Mikdash. Sounds like it's a knas. We told them no, we're not accepting it from you. Could we? We could. We're not going to accept from you. Lo lachem v'lo in the space of the Okay, so again, at this point, we're going to assume that it's kind of like a fine. Gemara goes on. Elokim and Kelbon. Kelbon is a fascinating thing. That this is they used to add on to Machzis a shekel. I believe it's a 1/48th measure of a shekel. Let's go down with the. Doesn't be down here. Maybe we'll come across it later on. Chaim says. This is more katana. But anyway, it's a small coin they used to give in order to compensate for having to make change. So the Adam Machzis shekel, when you have to buy 2 Machzis, when you bought from Machzis shekel 2 Chatzoi Shkolim for a whole shekel, so there was a, because you had to give to each of the Machzis, opposed to giving a shekel sholim. So then there was a slight commission to pay. That commission was the kelbon. The article points out that the money changes were also hektish. So hektish was taking charge a small fee for the exchange of for a whole shekel for 2 halves. Even where both halves are necessary, say the family was buying for a couple members of the family. Nevertheless, each one has to give its own machzis shekel. So there was a transaction fee. That transaction fee is borne by the people who give the machzis shekel. Levim, Yisraelim. The Levim will give, the Yisraelim will give, the Gerim, Ba'avadim Mishuchorim, and the Gerim will give, and release slaves. Avol, local Kohanim, lo Noshim. Kohanim don't have to give, nor women. This is according to the assumption that Kohanim are exempt from Machzis shekel, so which was one of the opinions of previous Mishnah. So they have Ben Buch's opinion, so therefore they're exempt from Kelbon. So they're not exempt to everybody. Avadim, below Ktanim. Nor time who are not required to give. Even they do give, and they make change, they don't give a kelbon. They require them. Hashoy they Evan, or they Isha, or they Kohen, or they Kotan, therefore somebody who gives a Machzis a shekel on behalf of Evan, an Isha, a Kohen, or Kotan is Potter. Okay, so they're just like they be part of the kelbon, he's part of the kelbon, is giving money for them. Vim Shokal. Sorry, if a person is giving money for him and for his friend who is mechuyev, the machzis, so he's putting out the money for his friend. They have to give 1 kelbon together. Right, bonus. Each one they have to give a kelbon for each of the partners, and the one is going to discuss this. Netzat shekel, if you gave a sarah. To in order to get a shekel back, so then chayiv shtei kabonos, you're chayiv and 2 kabonos, and the more is going to explain the inference of that as well. Hashoy ani, somebody who gives maltizah for a poor person, for his neighbor, ayad ben iro, and for his for a member of his for his neighbor and his member of the same city, potter is exempt from kabbalah. Okay, so since he's giving a gift on behalf of the other people, Chazal said we're exempting from kabbalah. Even boom, just put out the money for him, loaning the money for them. So then you're chayav. Hachem shut mishchayav v'kelbon. Hachem shut v'chayav and kelbon. The between Ma'aseh Beima, they're exempt from Ma'aseh Beima, a famous contingency in Shas. That the brothers who were shutfim, who split up, and then became after they inherited the property from the father, and then they rejoined again as partners. So then the Chaim and Kelbon, because they are two separate people. They're part of Ma'aseh Beima because Ma'aseh Beima doesn't cover an animal which is owned b'shutfus. But on the other hand, Shecham Ma'aseh Beima and the Chaim Ma'aseh Beima, because it's still Tfus Habayis. The estate hasn't been divided up yet. The estate still belongs to them, but they haven't divided up to become separate entities. They're still a corporate entity. So then they are Chayv Ma'aseh Beima because they're not Shutfim. Tfus Habayis, which is the state of the estate before it's divided up, it's not a Shutfus. It's a joint ownership, but it's not a Shutfus. So therefore, they are Chayv Ma'aseh Beima. And at that, but again, since they're not two separate entities, so then P'turim min HaKabel. They're exempt from Kabel. Kami Kabel. How much is a Kabel? More kesef. It's a more. More, I think. He'll say what it is. Anyway, that's Divrei Rabbi Meir. Usually Article gives us some sort of reckoning, but here he does. It's a sixth of the dinner, and the dinner is half a shekel. So it's actually a not 48, it's a 12th. So it's a 20. It's 1/12 of a shekel. For Chachamim, a kelbon is a chatzimah. It's a half a more, which is the 24th of a. No, I got it right the first time. Sorry, Kohen Meir, a kelbon is a more, which is 1/12 of a machzis, a shekel. So it's 1/24 of a shekel. A kelbon is half a more, which is 1/24 of a machzis, a shekel, which is 1/48 of a shekel, like I said before. Okay, so it says more, and this is which you already saw before. Afal even though they said etc. That we're not mamashkein. Do we have this one? I think we had a different version before. Yeah, it's what I was about to ask. It sounds like if they want to give, they can give. Holy Brian Tobin, but we can't demand it of them. So the question is, Tobin. Previously, we said that we are Toveh. We're talking about a carton who was maybe Shtei Saros. So just can't be Mashkin. Here you can't, you say Ain't Tobin. What's the difference? Kumar says that's the difference. Where it's younger than when it's a cotton. So then we're not even toveh. He wants to give, and assume he has funds to give so on his own because he owns money. So he gave him the money as a gift, so then he can give. But we're never toveh. Above 12, even though we can't be not mashkin because he hasn't made the chib, the raisa, and then we can't compel it, but we demanded of him. So so. Until 12, we don't even demand. He wants to give gifts. Between, until 13 for a boy. So it's until 13, if he wants to give, he gives. Doesn't want to give, doesn't give, we're not toveh. Between 13 and 20, the rice doesn't have to give, we're toveh. We mun him. We tell him we should give. Above 20, we go down to his property and seize the machzis shek on his behalf. Okay, that brings us to the top of Chesem Rav. We'll stop here for today. I guess stopped.